buttons. I gotta turn in this quest here. Oh yeah, that's right, I have the map. Every single freaking time I forget that I have that map in that bottom right corner there. I mean, I know I have the mini-map down here, but this guy on the corner right here, I always forget him. See? Never let it be said I'm not nice. Oh, clerics don't get the... Do clerics not get the better buffs? I wonder.
Aion's shade protects us.
Yes, I got Komu's horn, you bastard. Now.
Was there something you needed?
Beehives, yes. Lesser crit strike, fantastic. Wow, I still have my DP. That's...
Was there something you needed?
Something I didn't know could happen. Okay. Alright, anything else? No? Alright, cool. Now. Ooh, you know what? Let me go ahead and penguinize here. Because I got the chance to. And it's nifty. Oh, I can put these on finally. Yay! I'm gonna go ahead and nuke those really quick. They were good for all of a level. Thank you, Haramel's Brogans. I'm gonna get rid of some of this stuff. I know I can't nuke that, unfortunately. Which is silly, but I don't know, maybe it's considered a quote-unquote accessory or some such. Appreciate your patience with all of that. Just trying to get some technical difficulty majigs taken care of. MP102. Honestly, I'm probably going to keep the hat I'm wearing now because of the parry. Wait, do I even have that spell for the parry yet? No, I don't. You know what? I'll take the extra MP then. Fuck that. Ah, Christ. Fine. I'll do this animation as a penguin. Rars. Okay, I'll go ahead and pop that. Pop that. General goods, let me go ahead and sell real quick.
How can I help you?
How can I help you? You can... Well, for one, you can stop asking stupid questions. Oops.
How can I help
Well, for one, you can buy my shit, and then you can stop asking me stupid questions like, how can I help you? I'll help myself, damn it. I don't know why I feel like being a bitch to these people, but it just seems like the right thing to do, my being an immortal god and stuff. You pick that? Nope. Okay, it's fine. Never let it be said I'm not polite, damn it. I mean, even though I was just a bitch like 2 seconds ago, but damn it, never let it be said I'm not polite sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. I have my moments. Now... Balls, okay. I have this one quest to do down here. Metallic fragment. Which, yeah, I guess I'll do these quests here really quick, just for the sake of doing it. I am seriously going to be level 25 before I leave this freaking area. It's amazing. And I skipped all of these quests up here because screw that place, basically. And I guarantee you, I know that there's a quest to fight these guys right here. I don't know where, but I distinctly remember it being a thing. Baledohala. I love the Korean sound pack on here. It's actually, like, not bad. Unlike the English one, unfortunately, which is just absolutely fucking awful. I mean, just a level of bad it shouldn't... That should not be.
Was there something you needed?
Malodor antidote. Oh, right. I actually have to kill the Ampha first before I can complete the quest. Go figure! I know you have no interest in Candula, but I do, so... suck it up and deal with it. This game has such fantastic aesthetics, man. I love the whole glowing, you know, luminescent mushroom thing. It reminds me a lot of, Morrowind. Why can't the real world have places as cool looking as this? Poison Ampha. Oh, whoops. Gotta change button scheme really quick. There we go. 3-shot. Thank you. Killed by a penguin. Yep. That's how I roll. Oh, I'm out of drinky poo. That's unfortunate. Okay. Can I actually kill this Ampha without actually using other... well, anything... well... there was going to be a sentence in there, and clearly I just botched it, so... there's no point actually finishing it up. Thank you. Now, Mr. Sprigg, you're going to have to obey me, please. And by obeying me, I mean, like, die. Because that's kind of what I require of you. It is unfortunate, but it is the way of things, so, you know, suck it up, Buttercup. Pop one of these bad boys. Oh, I already have one of those. Son of a bitch. Well, that was silly. And a waste of resources, such as it is. Man, these guys don't even aggro. I feel so bad. Please give me your mushrooms. Or whatever the hell it is I'm grabbing from you. Which I think are mushrooms. No, I'm grabbing mushrooms from you. It would be fantastic if you could just hand them over, you know, and we don't shoot the dog. Ooh, Candula. Gimme, gimme. Some lovin'. You know, it's really amazing just how quickly the temperature drops in this room when the sun goes down. I mean, it's actually bearable in here now. It's almost a little on the cool side, probably because the air conditioning is also running, but still, you know, when there's not a sun bearing down, and it's not 95 effing degrees out, and like 85% humidity.
Was there something you needed?
Yes.
Greetings.
Wasn't this a time quest before? I distinctly remember that being a thing.
May Aion protect you.
Where is it? Yeah, that was most definitely a timed quest. I think they got rid of it. It works just as well, to be honest. Time quests are a pain in the ass in this game. I mean, straight the F up, they're a pain in the ass. Wait, didn't these guys used to be aggro magnets? Is that a thing that I've forgotten about? Is that a thing that they used to do? Hey, what's over here? Have I ever looked over here for anything before? That is so cool looking. Ooh, Candula. Is there something secret right there? Just like a cliff there for no reason. Unless that's just cheeky level design. Meant to give you the feeling of, hey, cool, I can jump into this. Oh, I'm dead. Because I might have done that a couple of times now. One of them in Sanctum to be like, hey, can I hit the ground? You can, but you don't want to. Yeah, it's just a cliff. Okay. So is there anything over here? That's a wall. That's fine. I knew that. Is there anything over here? I mean, I see... Oh, this is where I'm supposed to go. Okay, cool. I'm not dumb at all. I know how to read maps. Huh. Give me that yummy, yummy Candula. Which still sounds like a euphemism for something. Or actually, it doesn't sound like a euphemism. It sounds like a disease. You have Candula. You know, you may want to settle your affairs now. You know, put out a life insurance plan, all that crap. God, it has been a long time since I've been to this area. Wow. I forgot how pretty it was. This is one of the reasons I think I remember liking the Asmodean side more than the... What the hell do you call them? The fairy types. Elios. The Elios side. Because they're... Oh my god, I can hear your voice this time. Yeah, I kind of didn't realize the last time that I streamed that I kind of didn't actually have my mic plugged in. I mean, I saw the mic thing was on, so I was like, okay, cool, you know, my mic is working. And I didn't realize until about 2 hours after I stopped streaming that I'd never plugged the damn thing in. So I was actually trying to export my foray into Algernon, which is, by the way, a train wreck. Don't ever play it. And yeah, I was like, why do I not hear my voice during any of this? I'm like, wow, no wonder, like, nobody answered me when I was saying, hi, how are you? Because my mic wasn't on. Icon technology. So yes, my mic is on now, I promise this time. Honest. It is on, right? Okay, good. It's on. Ironhilt? Where am I going? I'm gonna look for stuff because it's cool. Holy crap, I forgot about this. But yeah, to get back to what I was saying before, one of the reasons I liked the Asmodean side more than the Elio side, honestly, was the aesthetics of the actual level design. You know, I mean, here you have, you know, you have tundras, you have this weird mushroom kingdom, you know, in Morheim you still have deserts, you know what I mean, you have that weird, fire cave, you have the water area, all that kind of stuff, you have the Sky Temple of Arcanus, all of that stuff. You know, it's really varied, whereas it seemed like a lot of the, Elios area was just, like, you know, jungle, desert, jungle, more jungle, a little bit of desert, and then just, like, dirt everywhere. You know, and the variety wasn't as varied, it was just more, you know, it's kind of like the Horde complex where, you know, while the Horde area was basically like dirt until like level 40, you know what I mean? It was there wasn't a whole lot to look at, it was all pretty much the same thing, whereas Alliance you had, depending on where you started in like, you know, 2 or 3 different forests, or you started, you know, and then you went to, you know, you could have Tundra, you had, you know, various, you know, you had your regular and your, you know, purple forest varieties, you know, just, it was a lot more varied, you know.
Make it quick.
And I'm the kind of weirdo where I can, excuse me, where I kind of appreciate that kind of stuff.
Make it quick.
I get kind of bored if I'm leveling in the exact same, whoops, the exact same area every single time. I thought you were just ignoring me. No, I promise, Kagu, sorry, I can't English right now. No, I promise I was not ignoring you. I was just simply, I didn't realize my mic was on, I'm sorry. I promise I wasn't trying to offend, I'm sorry. I feel really bad. I felt really bad about it after the fact. I was like, oh, they must have thought I was a total asshole just not saying anything. Believe it or not, I was pissed off when I found out that my mic wasn't on because I was speaking the entire time that I was streaming that. I mean, you know, I do pause at least somewhat occasionally when doing this because my throat starts to get sore, but I mean, I was like non-stop speaking that entire like 2.5 hours I was streaming it, and I was like, son of a bitch, I can't use this, this isn't entertaining. Not that I'm entertaining to begin with, but nevertheless. Case in point, gotta stop for a second to breathe, because that's kind of an important thing that we need to do as human beings and, you know, livers on the planet of Earth. Livers on the... Jesus Christ. Oh my god, I need to get the brain juices working in a correct and not bad manner. So no, I promise you I was not ignoring you. Promise. Okay, how the hell... Where the hell can I stick this thing so it's not going to be in my way? Does that work? That works. That's good. Yes, we are livers. We are indeed livers. We are all livers on this planet. So when somebody asks you, what am I, chopped liver? You're not chopped, but you are a liver. So, yes. We live. Go figure. Man, I got my own language. You kind of gotta roll with it after a while. I don't mean to, but it's just... Even I don't understand what comes out of my mouth half the time. You just kind of gotta shrug and go with it. Because goddammit, that's what I have to do, so everyone else is gonna have to suffer through it too. Okay. It's good to know I still haven't dropped any frames. Fantastic. OBS decided that it just wanted to stop working earlier today. It was just like, yeah, sorry, I don't feel like working right now, so I'm gonna crash your entire computer while I'm at it. That was fun. Then I went to play Algernon for like an hour and a half, and to try and give it another fair shot, because I kind of felt like I was unnecessarily bashing it after realizing about an hour into my first playthrough that the entire thing, that my game had lagged out, so I was just basically wandering through a barren wasteland of nothing when I was supposed to. I recently started playing Final Fantasy XIV. What's your opinion on that MMO? It's actually very good now. I think that's actually a very, very good MMO. It's not, you know, it's I can give it all the credit in the world for actually being different. You know, it's not a clone of WoW, and it's not a clone of Final Fantasy XI, which is actually, you know, very impressive in its own right, because a lot of times, you know, companies that make a successful MMO, or even, like, a decent playable MMO, have a tendency to fall back into the habit of, you know, they'll just make an updated version. You know, it'll be like, you know, they would have made just, you know, Final Fantasy XI version 2.0. It's, I mean, Final Fantasy XIV has a lot of similar aspects, very similar aspects to Final Fantasy XI, because, you know, I mean, it's the same series. I mean, Final Fantasy XIV has similar aspects to Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy II, like the Japanese Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy II, you know what I mean? Like, you know, yeah. Yeah, I really like that too. That was actually my favorite thing about Final Fantasy XI and Final Fantasy XIV, that you could do everything on one character and be done with it. Now, the shitty thing about Final Fantasy XI is, in order to get more character slots, you actually had to pay extra money to do it. So, you know, the whole playing everything on one character was, like, kind of a necessity. You had to do it on one character, because if you didn't, you had to pay more money. I mean, most people wound up having... Oh, excuse me, sorry. Sorry. Most people wound up playing having multiple character slots anyway, just because they were basically like auction house mules. But the fact that you could be everything on one character was cool. Now, to be fair, also on Final Fantasy XI, the races actually had different enough traits that you kind of had to min-max it. You know, in 14, it doesn't really necessarily matter too much, you know, if you decide to pick a Makode, or if you decide to pick a Lalafell, or, you know, a human. I can't remember if they actually have their own saying, but they're actually called humans in this one. You know, there's not really... There might be a slight stat difference, but there's nothing really changing them other than, you know, aesthetics. Do you like looking like a small little pudgy creature that can jump like 3 times its body height and then just look perpetually cheery? Or do you want to be like the big monster creature that can like pile drive, you know, a car like one-handed like it's nothing? You know, it's just more visual aesthetics, what you like to look at. Final Fantasy XI, you know, a Galka had the most strength and the most stamina. Or it wasn't called stamina in that game, what the fuck was it called? Fuck, I can't remember the name of it. Whatever, it's Vitality, excuse me, that's what it was Vitality. Yeah, Lalafell Paladins, I know they're adorable. But the thing is, in Final Fantasy XI, if you tried rolling a Tarutaru Paladin, you were kind of mocked, because they actually... Their stats were so different. Oh, I should probably start playing the game while doing this too. Sorry, I got into chat mode and forgot that I was paying attention to what I was doing. But in Final Fantasy XI, you know, the actual, the stats of a Tarutaru versus a Galka were noticeable enough that if you wanted to main a Paladin, if that's the class you wanted to play, then you were highly recommended to play, like, a Galka or a Hume. Or, well, actually, you know... You were recommended to play pretty much anything but a Tarutaru, because the Tarutaru had massive MP pools, but their HP was extremely low to compensate. Like, there was a huge penalty. Now with things like the Elvins, or Elvan, or however the hell it was spelled and pronounced, you know, they made very good paladins because of their high mind stat. They made very good white mages. They made... Pretty much every class in the game actually made a good red mage, but it just kind of depended upon what you wanted to do. You know, when I played, Elvins were good. Red mage, like, they were good backup healers, you know what I mean? They were red mage / white mages or something, you know, subbed white mage to be good backup healers and debuffers and stuff like that. But, you know, but they were terrible black mages because their int stat was so low. They honestly weren't terribly good mages from a throughput standpoint. They were good white mages because their mind stat was so high, but their MP was relatively low, so they couldn't really do as much. You know, they couldn't heal as much for, like, raw throughput. You had to, you know, what am I trying to say here? I'm multitasking, my brain can't function like that. You know, you had to rely upon food to increase your MP pool. Whereas Tarutaru could just spam until, you know, the end of time. But I think, from what I remember, Elvins were actually considered considered kind of like the quote-unquote best paladins, because they had high HP, very high mind stat, and and a couple of other things. It's like their stats worked, so that way they were kind of like the sort of best paladins from an all-around stat perspective. Everyone preferred Galkas anyway, just because they had more HP, and that's the only one ever, and that's all that anybody ever looked at, to be honest. But anyway, my rant of Final Fantasy XI aside, I think Final Fantasy XIV is a very, very good game now. It's different enough that it's created its own niche. It's slower than your average MMO today. It's kind of, there are actiony elements to it, you know, you gotta get out of the bad, but, you know, it's more slow, it's more thoughtful. You know, their global cooldown is, you know, 2.5 seconds versus the 1.5 seconds of pretty much every other game, or even just 1 second for most places. You know, you really have to kind of think about what you're doing. You can spam, but you're physically not going to be able to do as many abilities as you would in, say, WoW or something else. And it's also, I mean, you can tell they also design it with having a controller in mind, even though having keyboard and controller is better to play the game in just for convenience sake, especially since I recently found out that they had mouse over macros. Go figure. Yeah, the global cooldown is kind of, if you haven't played a game that has a global cooldown in it, then you're just going to be like, what the fuck is this thing? Why can't I use multiple abilities at once? It's a balancing feature, but the slower global cooldown kind of throws you off for a while, but once you get used to it, it feels more natural that way, such that going back to a game like WoW, or, you know, Rift, or, you know, in this case, you know, or even Aion, which really doesn't actually have, like, a global cooldown in the strictest sense of the word. You know, its global cooldown is sort of listed by, you know, the global cooldown in this, well, I guess it does, because all the skills black out for about a second, so I guess it does have a global cooldown. But, you know, going back to games that have shorter cooldowns, it really, you can feel the difference, and it can feel kind of hectic or even downright spammy sometimes, because you're just like, why am I pressing so many buttons a minute? Like, you know, you're not really killing anything faster in the technical sense. It's just you're pressing more buttons to do it, you know? But I do think it's a very good game. It's a very strong game. Now, Final Fantasy XIV version 1.0, the one that released in an effectively alpha state like cheeses like 4 or 5 years ago, that game was bad. I mean, you can tell there was something good in there. There was a good concept in there, but I mean, like, the game didn't have mail set up, it didn't have any transportation set up, there was no teleporting, there were no airships, you know, I mean, there were no, whoops, I just hit my mic, sorry for the sound, you know, there were no quest hubs, you know what I mean, or just questing in general, really, you know, it was, you know, the leave quest system was really, really kind of, I don't want to say poorly implemented. I mean, if you want to say that, you know, everything about Final Fantasy 14 version 1.0 was poorly implemented, but it really wasn't. It was just, it was in an alpha state, you know. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was bad because they released it as a full game in an alpha state, and I mean, you could even tell that the head director, because basically Squeenix got greedy. They wanted it to be out, you know. I think the game had like from start to finish like an 11-month development time. I mean, from like the very first, you know, iterations of the storyline itself, like, you know, like concept art. They went from concept art to quote-unquote release in like under a year. And for most games that you see nowadays, and especially most games of like AAA standards, and especially something that's as time-consuming and you know, detailed and, you know, fraught with balance issues and, you know, just for sheer massive amounts of content you need to make, something as big as an MMO, you can't make something like that in 11 months start to finish and have it anywhere near finished. But it got released as a full game, people got pissed off, and people stopped subbing. And it got so bad that they actually suspended the need to subscribe to the game for something like 2 years, until right before The Realm Reborn started. I mean, by the time they got to the point where they destroyed it for A Realm Reborn, you know, I actually saw something very close to a finished game. You know what I mean? It had the Beastman quests, it had job quests, you know, it had just sort of like storyline quests to begin with. It had chocobos, it had air flights, you know, it had teleportation. You know, they finally started to sort of fill out the world, and had the game released in that state, you know, 2 years prior, I think it would have been much better received. I still don't think it would have been regarded as good of a game as the new version is now, because there were a lot of design choices that the old developer kept on because he was... I think, if I recall reading an interview, like, he straight up said that he never touched an MMO except for Final Fantasy XI. And not only did he never touch an MMO, he hated, or it's like he didn't like the idea of MMOs in general. So he was trying to make it, like, he was purposely eschewing, like, everything that people maybe got used to or people liked in MMOs. He wanted to do his own thing and make it completely different than everybody else. There were certain decisions that were just, like, not good. There were certain decisions on there that just didn't work, you know what I mean? Like, he was staunchly against the idea of just adding levels to the monsters that you saw. You know, you had to con it, you had to check and see what level it was, or in some cases you had to just whack it and see whether or not it was dangerous or not. He didn't even want to add levels to their names to figure it out. You had to, like, con it, because he figured that was more, like, immersive or something weird. It was, you know, if the ending of 1.0 had been the way it started, I still think it would have turned out a lot better, but I still don't think it would have been nearly as good as 2.0. You know, they made a lot of changes, kind of bring it into the fold. It is more, significantly more WoW-like than... I don't want to say it's more WoW-like, but there are more MMO influences in there than there used to be with the original version. And I think it may... in a couple of areas, like a couple of small details that may detract because it feels a little bit less Final Fantasy-ish to have those things there. But at the same time, you know, we're talking like, you know, having hotbars and the ability to jump. Like you fucking kidding me? Who cares? Like, who cares? It's, you know, there's such minor details, it just doesn't even matter. It's a better game in general. I actually haven't really had a chance to play it in the past couple of months. I kind of stopped playing it for Aion, you know, a month or two before that Heaven's Sword expansion came out. I bought the expansion. I haven't played it yet, partially because I think I need to finish the storyline, and it's been so long since I've played the game, I've kind of forgotten what the storyline is, and I'm the type of person where if I forget the storyline in like an RPG or video game, I tend to either never play it again or I have to start from the beginning, because trying to get back into it, I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing? Wow, I can immediately cast one of these again? I thought I had to wait for the animation to finish. When the hell did they change that? I mean, I'm pleased, don't get me wrong. But when the hell did they fix the lag problem with that? Alrighty then. Okie dokie then. Whoops, wrong button. What server am I on? Fuck. I think I'm on Hyperion right now. That was one of the legacy servers. For the longest time I was on, I mean, before it went to 2.0, I was on like the Radill server or something like that after they merged it. And I think I moved it. The thing is, I think that was actually changing to a Japanese server, which screwed up my latency some, so I moved to Hyperion, which was a legacy server. I thought about going on Bahamut, which was, I think, like a non-legacy. I think that was a Japanese server, I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure I'm stationed mainly on Hyperion now. I have a level 50 Elven Black Mage, which on 1.0 used to be a, you know, level 30 something. I actually think she just ended at level 30. She was a level 30 Makote Black Mage, and I used that free, we got free, like a couple of free plastic surgery tickets because of the, I don't know, because of all the issues that they had the first week or two, so we got a free plastic surgery ticket sent in our Moogle mail. But, and I just went ahead, I'm like, I'll be an Elven. Or an Elezen, excuse me, I don't want to misrepresent the race here. But it's a fun game. It's a very good game. It's very strong. You're strong like Russian cleaning lady. You know, and honestly, I'm glad. I'm glad to see it doing so well. I'm glad to see it legitimized the way that it is, because it really deserved it. You know, I mean, if for nothing else than for the people that, you know, spent all their time on version 1.0 and basically being shat on constantly because, you know, it was released too early. You know, and there's nothing worse than busting your ass to do stuff and then basically being told, you know, you suck because somebody else's decision, you know, basically screw you over. It's unfortunate, you know. I've been in that position, and it blows. Excuse me, Shardling. I have no quarrel with you. But if you want to step to me, go right ahead. Your shit will be jacked. You didn't have to fuck with me. I'm just trying to leave you be, dude. Begging thine pardon. Get the hell out of my way, please. Wait a minute. Ah, shit. Aw, Shazatron. There's another quest over there. What server are you on, Humble? Or Kagu? Kagu? Sorry, I can't English. It's Kagu, right?
Kind Deva.
Like the longer sound Kagu?
Shugos can always help.
Okie dokie.
Come back anytime.
Yes, the task is mine, indeed. And one thing I do really like about the Final Fantasy Reborn